G'day guys, Phil here from the Financially Fit Entrepreneur, and today we're on part 3 of our series on the 3 killer reasons why most high-level entrepreneurs struggle to thrive financially. So if you're an entrepreneur who has worked out how to make money, you're making solid revenue, but you still get to the end of each month and wonder, where has the money gone? You still get to the end of each month and struggle to pay yourself the salary you deserve. You still get to the end of each month and you feel like you're constantly juggling what you've got. Then this video is 100% for you. But before we get stuck into the content, 2 things that I need to tell you. There are some worksheets attached to this training. If you would like a copy of those and you're watching this on social media, then just down below here, can you please put in roadmap, financial roadmap, actually just roadmap in the comment section down below. And if you're watching this on YouTube or on my website, there should actually just be a link just below here that will allow you to download those worksheets. The second thing that I need to tell you is that if you are a high-level entrepreneur, if you've worked out how to make money, but you feel like you're no closer to those goals that are so important to you, if you feel like you're still just chasing more sales and more revenue just to sustain your business, then I invite you to book a call with me. I've spent the last 20 years working with multiple 6, 7, and even 8-figure entrepreneurs all over the world to help them create absolute certainty with their finances. So there's a link on the screen right now. Pop that into your URL, book a call, completely no expectation, completely no obligation. I'd love to have a chat with you, and it might just be the best investment of time that you've ever made for your business. Okay, so let's get into this. I've got my texts, I'm all ready to go. You can see here that I've got my pad all filled in from the last couple of sessions. Down the bottom here, the number one, the first sort of killer reason why most entrepreneurs struggle to thrive financially is that we are financially overwhelmed and time poor, and I'm sure you can relate to that. The solution that we went through was creating simple and time-efficient systems. Getting our bank account structure sorted so that it helps us harness our cash flow and automates part of that management process. Having money management systems so that we know what we need to be setting aside for all our future expenses. We know when we've got extra money that we can take away and we can transfer that down into a reserves account or use it to pay off debt or use it to grow and scale our business. But having a money management system, it doesn't mean you need to get bogged down in the detail. In fact, I have systems that I use with many of my clients. It is very high level, so you don't get stuck in the detail, and takes less than 60 minutes a month to manage. And then on the right-hand side here, perhaps the most important piece of advice that I could give any entrepreneur is the 5 numbers that you need to track as an entrepreneur: revenue, salary, expenses, tax, and profit. You get those things right, and then all of a sudden you're focusing on what's important in your business. The third reason that most entrepreneurs struggle to thrive financially is that we have this roller coaster of financial uncertainty that means that we're constantly reacting to our finances rather than being proactive. But over 20 years of coaching, what I've noticed is that the elite 2%, the guys that really do find financial freedom, they purposefully go about creating financial certainty in their lives. And they do this by preparing for the unexpected, having reserves, knowing that the unexpected will happen. They pay themselves a proper salary. We need to make that a priority. Rather than the last thing on the list, it needs to be one of the first things on the list. And then we grow and scale through cash flow rather than through debt, rather than through your credit cards. We're not overextending ourselves, but as the cash flow becomes available, we're purposely using that for the next step in our journey. Today, what we're looking at is the third big reason, the third killer reason why most entrepreneurs struggle to thrive financially, and that is they don't have a plan to thrive financially. They don't have a plan to turn that revenue into profit, that profit into wealth, and that wealth into the kind of life they really want. So the solution to this is that we need to have a financial roadmap. And I will say, without exception, the elite guys that I have worked with, they're elite because we've put a financial roadmap in place that gives them absolute clarity on how they're going to make the important things in their lives a reality. So often we walk around saying, oh, wouldn't that be nice? Gee, it'd be nice if one day we could do this or one day we could do that. And we just expect that that's somehow going to happen. But unless we have a clear plan of action to make that particular goal, that particular life goal, that particular investment goal, that particular business goal a reality, chances are we're going to be 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the track wondering why those things never became a reality. The key to making sure things do happen, making sure the life we want becomes a reality, is being purposeful and having a roadmap to make that a reality. Now, the first step, and this is perhaps beside this down here, measuring and tracking your profitability, which I think is so powerful, the first thing that we need to be doing is getting, so this is over here, number one strategy for your roadmap, is we need to get 100% clarity. Now, there's two things that we need to get clarity on. And in fact, this is actually the first step that I take with all my clients when I meet them for the first time. And that is, where are you at financially right now? Now, I know this is a little bit scary, but this is the foundation for everything that you want to do in your business, knowing where you stand right now. And often I'll have clients that say, look, that's really scary. It's really confronting. I'm a bit anxious about it. I'm really scared about what I'm going to find. And I understand that. Please, please, please hear me. I so understand that. I've been through this with hundreds of clients before. But you know what? Out the other end of this, the words that I hear from my clients that have been through this process of figuring out where they're at right now is empowering, therapeutic, cathartic, freeing. It is just, it's like a weight has been lifted from their shoulders because now they can see where they really stand. And it's rarely as bad as what they expected. Because in our minds, when we've got this absence of facts, what happens is fear comes in to fill the void and we catastrophize. So what we want to do is get 100% clarity, firstly, on where you're at right now. But the second thing is we get absolute clarity on where you want to be. What do you want your life to look like? What are the big life goals you want to achieve? What is it that you want to be spending your days doing on a day-to-day basis? What is it that you want to be able to buy? What is it you want to be able to give? What is it you want to be able to share? Getting absolute clarity on this is such a fun exercise that I do with all my clients, because what we do is we dream about those things. Now, my wife and I, just to give you a really good example, we are going to Norway next year. So, COVID permitting, August, September next year, we're going to Norway. It's been on our bucket list forever. So this was the next goal in our series of life goals. We've done beautiful things like taking the kids to Austria for a white Christmas, which is a big deal when you live in Australia. We've done other things like taking the kids around Ireland and around Wales. And there's so many things that we've been able to do with our kids because we were purposeful. We paid off our mortgage in 5 years. We had a large mortgage way back when. We paid that off in 5 years because we were just focused on making that a reality. So getting clarity on where we stand. But the second step in that process is then number two is assigning a dollar value. So what I'm talking about here is don't just work out what you want. The next step to making that an objective goal, the next step to making it, we're actually going to do this, is working out what that goal is actually going to cost you. I have some amazing clients at the moment that want to come to Australia. I'm super excited because I'll get to meet them. They're currently in Chicago in the US. They want to come to Australia for a belated honeymoon. So they're working in the process right now, working out what are the things they most want to see and what is it going to cost. I've been sending them lots of suggestions, but we'll see what they come up with. What is it going to cost? I have a client at the moment that wants to buy a house in Italy. Her husband's from Italy, but she wants to be able to buy a house in Italy. I've got clients at the moment that want to buy their first home. So we're going through this process of working out what does it actually cost, because once you've worked out what it's going to cost you and you've assigned a dollar value to it, then all of a sudden it becomes so much more tangible and realistic. And the other thing that I want to point out here, it's not just about the big life goals like the holidays or like the cars or like the houses. It's also, what does your ideal lifestyle cost you? Now, I have a worksheet that I use with all my clients called the Life by Design. And so what we work at is, okay, and down here under money management systems, we work out what does it cost you, what does your personal life cost you right now, what does your business life cost you right now, and then we take that a step further and go, okay, what would your ideal life look like? What would your ideal life look like, and what would that cost you? So assigning a value makes things so much more achievable. Then the next step in this process is step by step. There is, you create a roadmap where your first step is to make sure that you've got your known future expenses covered. So both within your business and within your personal life. The second step is to build reserves, both into your business life and in your personal life, which factors in the unexpected. So we've got this cushion. We've got our known expenses covered in our business operating account. We've got our our unknown expenses covered in our business reserves account. And we do the same with our personal life. Then what we do is, once we've got those in place, we have now broken the paycheck to paycheck cycle, if we were ever in it. And we then start paying. So we've got debt. This is when we start purposefully paying off debt. Every dollar starts to pay off debt, knowing that we're not going to get stuck in this silly cycle where, that frustrating cycle where you pay down the credit card, then it comes back, you pay it down, then it comes back. Once we've got those first two steps in place, that never ever happens. We pay off the debt. Anything that stays off the debt permanently. And then what we will look at is starting to, once the debt's gone, we start to purposely achieve either our business goals or our life goals. And all of this comes with the dollar figure. When we know that, hey, our profit is $5,000 a month, and we go, oh, and we've got this goal over here that's $100,000, we can clearly see that it's going to take us 20 months to make that goal a reality. It then becomes a matter of being focused on that, creating yourself a chart and going, yes, we're working towards it. When we took the kids to Austria back in 2014, we had a chart in the fridge for about 6 months out that is what we were going to do. And so we were saving towards it. It starts to become very, very predictable and very, very easy to achieve. The other thing, so I'm just going to go here, number 3 too. Okay, and I've sort of skipped a step, but the actual roadmap that I was just talking about, but is if we want to turn our profit into the life goals and then into ultimately the financial freedom we want to start investing. And this is where the guys really achieve financial freedom, that elite 2%, is purposely turning or purposely pouring their profits into building or buying income producing assets. This is the upward wealth spiral. So many entrepreneurs never even get to this step. We're so busy just trying to tread water and that hamster wheel of enough revenue to create enough sales so that we can sustain the business. But once you've been through this entire process here, then what happens? We do get to this point where we do have profit. We have been achieving our life goals, purposely achieving our life goals, just as I described a minute ago. And now what we're doing is we're starting to pump money into income producing assets, cash flow positive property, dividend paying stocks, maybe crypto. But what we're starting to do is pour money into these assets, and the more income those assets produce, the more surplus we have, which means we've got more money to buy more assets, which creates more income to buy more assets, which creates more income. I hope you can see that upward wealth spiral. That is the complete opposite to when we're constantly in this place where we're taking on more debt to try and get the things we want, but the more debt takes away from our future income because it's taking away from our cash flow in the repayments, and therefore it's a downward spiral because we've got less capacity to save every single month. What we want to do is we want to create an upward wealth spiral. So guys, I hope that makes sense. I apologize for my crummy writing there. There's obviously more detail in here. I've tried to keep this really short, but if you're in a place where, yes, you're making the revenue, but you don't have a clear plan to make your life goals a reality, it still seems very fuzzy how you go from revenue to life goals, then can I invite you to book a call? There's a link on the screen right now to book a call with me where we can talk through what your roadmap would look like, what step you're up to right now, what's your next step, and what are the subsequent steps to get you to the goals you want. When we're talking about money, it's actually a very objective process. So book a call, no expectation, no obligation, and I think it might just be the best use of the time that you could ever make for your business. If you'd like a copy of the worksheet, just pop roadmap in the comment section down below here, or click in the link down below here and grab a copy of those. Take care, guys, and I hope this has been super helpful.